Hello, my name's Julie Hebert, and I'm here to go over the employee benefits for H3W beginning June 1st, 2026. This year, we're going to continue the Blue Cross Blue Shield coverage for the medical. There'll be 3 plans, as there have been in the last several years. Then H3W will be moving back to Lincoln Financial for the dental, vision, life insurance, and long-term disability. So we'll go over all that information, just a brief overview. Hopefully this will answer any questions that you have. So there's 3 choices available to you through Blue Cross Blue Shield. 2 of the plans are PPO plans and 1 is an HMO. The biggest difference between the HMO and the PPO plans is that you're in the Blue Advantage network in the HMO, which is a smaller network. You don't have access to hospitals like Methodist or MD Anderson. And you do also have to have a designated primary care physician, and that doctor will direct your care to specialists and keep you in the network. So a little bit more limited access to care, and you also have to have a primary care physician. You'll see in a moment it is very affordable for you guys if you want to go that route, but that's the main differences. The PPO plan has a $3,000 deductible. This plan has, in the Blue Choice Network, you don't have to have a primary care physician. Once you've met that $3,000 deductible, everything's covered at 80%. You pay at 20%. The most you'll ever spend on the plan is $8,150. To go to a primary care type doctor, it's going to be a $35 copay. A specialist is going to be $70. Preventative care is covered at 100%, as well as lab and x-rays. So that's a great benefit on this plan. Then also, if you have something done like imaging, like PET scans, CAT scans, MRIs, things like that, if you're in the hospital doing outpatient surgery, any of these type of procedures, you're going to have to meet that $3,000 deductible. Then you're going to pay at 20%, and the carrier is going to pay at 80% until you've met that maximum out-of-pocket amount. If you go to the emergency room, there is going to be a $500 copay. That is also going to be subject to your deductible and co-insurance. We encourage you to always use an urgent care when possible and only use an emergency room for true emergencies. They're trying to steer you there away from the higher cost emergency rooms. If you are admitted to the hospital for the reason that you went to the ER, say if you feel like you're having an appendicitis attack and they say, oh yeah, we got to go ahead and do surgery, we're going to admit you, that $500 would be waived. To go to an urgent care is a $75 copay. So you can see right there, there's a lot lower cost. So I encourage you to find an urgent care near your home where you work and have that kind of in your mind of where you would go if something comes up. This plan does have a prescription drug copay plan. It's $0 for preferred generics, $10 for non-preferred generics, and you have brand name and non-preferred brand name. Then you have specialty medication. So always encourage you to use a Walgreens pharmacy with Blue Cross Blue Shield. Walgreens, Walmart, you can go to CVS, but you're going to pay a higher cost. So that is the PPO option. The similar plan to that is the HMO option, is this one right here. You are in that Blue Advantage network, which is a little bit smaller. You do have to have that primary care physician, and you do have to have a referral to go see a specialist. There's a $3,500 deductible on this plan, and there's no coverage out of network. Then you're covered everything at 80%. You pay 20%. Your maximum out of pocket is $87.50. Copay to see the primary care doctor is going to be $40. Specialist is going to be $80. Preventative care is still covered at 100%. There's no charge for lab or x-ray. Again, all these provisions are the same. You have that deductible and co-insurance for imaging, inpatient, outpatient, also emergency room with that $500 deductible. Same $75 urgent care copay, and the prescription plan's the same. So you can see these plans are very similar. The biggest difference is that network difference, a little slight differences in the copay. But please notice that H3W is very generous, and they pay 100% of you and your family, anyone that you want to cover on this plan. So if that's something that appeals to you, look at that for sure. Then the third option is this in the middle, this HSA option where you have a $5,000 deductible. So you're basically paying everything out of pocket for the first $5,000. Then everything's covered at 100%. Preventative care is covered at 100%, but other than that, the first $5,000 of everything you spend is going to be paid out of pocket at the agreed upon amount with Blue Cross Blue Shield. I encourage you to couple that with an HSA account, which you can open at any bank. and that is a great option also. This talks about the Blue Cross Blue Shield network. You can go to, this tells you how to find in-network doctors and hospitals. Of course, we encourage you to stay in network whenever possible. You're going to get a better benefit, and with the HMO plan, you actually have to stay in the network. Here's information about the preferred pharmacy, as I mentioned. Here's information on the MD Live service. If you've never used that, that's a great option. Keeps you out of the doctor's office. Here's some information on preventative care. Always encourage folks to use the preventative care. You're already paying for your coverage or getting it included, so all that is covered at 100%. If you are on that HSA account, the middle type of coverage, you can couple that with a medical, with a health savings account. And Use is talking about the things you can do there. You can contribute up to $4,400 per year for 26 or $87.50 per family. The dental insurance, as I mentioned, is going to go back through Lincoln. So this is a change this year. We were with MetLife last year, and it didn't go over as well. So the folks in charge decided to move back over to Lincoln. So here's information on how to find a provider in the Lincoln Dental PPO network. You can go and get your teeth cleaned twice a year. That's going to be covered at 100%. You can get sealants and fluorides, and all that's covered at 100% for children. X-rays also covered at 100%. If while you're there, they say, oh, it looks like you need a little filling, you're going to have a $50 deductible per person. Then they're going to cover that filling at 80%. You're going to pay 20%. If it's like a crown or a denture, it's a 50-50 arrangement. You do have orthodontic care for children up to 19. They'll pay up to $1,500 on their lifetime limit of orthodontia, and the maximum annual dental benefit is $1,500. So the vision insurance is also going to go back through Lincoln, and so it's important to find a vision provider. The Lincoln Vision Connect is the network there, and so you can find information on where to find a provider. There's an 800 number to call. You can go out of network, but you're going to receive a much better benefit if you can find someone in the network. Get your eyes checked for $10. You have $130 towards frames, and then a $25 copay is going to cover your lens copay. And you can also choose to get contact lens instead, and that's going to be $125 towards that, but it's either going to be contacts or glasses, not both in the same year. So H3W does also provide a $50,000 life insurance policy, and so we want to make sure your beneficiaries are up to date as you go through ease. And then also in the long-term disability, they provide long-term disability, 60% of your salary up to $10,000. This begins after 90 days of being disabled, and this is a free benefit for you guys, so that's really nice. So right now is your open enrollment time. So from now until about May 15th, you can make changes. If you want to make changes after that, it needs to be because you had some kind of life event, like a marriage, death, birth, adoption. Maybe your spouse lost their job and now you need to add them to your policy. Those are all things that allow you to make changes through the year outside of open enrollment, but you just need to let us know within 30 days. So please reach out to me if you have one of these situations come up. This talks about if you leave H3W, what you can do there. This talks about when you turn 65. Of course, we're going to continue to use ease enrollment, and so we'll be sending that link out, and you'll be able to get enrolled via that link. Here's information on the Blue Access for members. If you haven't already accessed that, here's the information. And then I included some information about Lincoln Dental Connect, and then also how to find your vision provider. So there's all that information. Appreciate you guys very much. And if you ever have questions, please feel free to reach out. I'm always here to help. Thanks so much.